There are two kinds of simplicity. One is on this side of complexity, and the other is on the other side of complexity. And this one is much, much, much more valuable. I want to tell you a little bit about an idea I ran across in my studies recently. It's part of the classical rhetorical tradition that existed from about 400 BC in Greece all the way up through the Renaissance in Europe. It's called second nature. This idea explains why in so many disciplines this happens in sports, this happens in school, this happens when you're learning a musical instrument, it happens in all kinds of areas. That when you're learning something, you have to do a bunch of stupid brainless drills for a long time, and then that's what transforms you into a true master. So the idea is like this. When you start learning a discipline or a skill set or anything like that, you have what could be called first nature. And what that is just everything that you come to the table with. And when you start, your first nature is not very good at whatever it is that you're trying to do. When you pick up a violin, you're not going to play it very well. When you first try to play a new sport, you're not going to play it very well. If you're picking up a new skill like repairing a refrigerator, you're probably not going to be very good at it the first time around. That is first nature. The next stage in this process is learning to discipline yourself and to practice tons of seemingly mindless, dumb, rote, idiotic drills. Kids who are playing the piano, they play the scales up and down and up and down and up and down over and over and over again for years. Same thing happens with other musical instruments. Of course, this would also happen if you're a refrigerator repairman, that you have to go and practice on a lot of refrigerators before you get good at it. And of course, this also happens in weightlifting, where in almost no situation in your real life are you going to be lifting barbells. But lifting barbells hopefully prepares you to lift other heavy things, like people, or cars, or sacks of salt. A lot of people who are in the middle of this educational process will kind of look at all those kind of seemingly blind rote drills and say, well, this is stupid. There's no creativity here. There's no room for me to express myself. It's just dumb, blind rote memorization and practice, and this is not good, and you're cramping my style and constraining my inner spirit of innovation and creativity. If somebody near you does that, let me recommend that you squirt them briefly with a super soaker to bring them back to their senses. The truth is that although you start with first nature and then you have to move through this period of discipline, on the other side is the area of second nature. This is where all of those drills and all of those practice skills and all of those blind rote memorized techniques have now become second nature. They've become part of you. They're not something that you do in a blind rote mechanical way. Instead, they're a set of tools that you can bring together, rearrange, and deploy in an infinite variety of ways to suit the situation that you're facing. In other words, all of those things that are artificial and forced become second nature. And that is where true mastery lies. True mastery in violin playing is not a 3-year-old who saws away and scratches at the strings. True mastery is also not the young or teenage student who can practice the scales perfectly. True mastery is when you have a really good violinist who can play a song and can deploy all those techniques, those years of practice into a single moment to give you a heartbreakingly beautiful rendition of that song that only occurs at one moment in time, where that person is fully invested in the moment and able to creatively express what they're feeling and create a new moment of art using all those skills that they've accumulated over the years. So it's not in the beginning, it's not in first nature, it's not in artificial practice and forms. Instead, it's at the end when you can deploy those forms in second nature. This is a thing we're thinking about no matter what field you're in, no matter what skill you're learning, no matter what knowledge set you're acquiring, is, okay, what was my first nature? How did I come to this situation? What were all my weaknesses and how blind and bad I was at this? Then you want to think about those practices, those techniques, those forms, those drills that will help you to cultivate the skills that you're going to need to become a true master at that craft or at that knowledge set. And finally, you're going to want to move into that realm of second nature where all of those techniques become synthesized and you can use them how you want to use them. I'd be really curious for you to leave a comment below where you see this principle of first nature and second nature working in your life, whether that's a skill set or knowledge that you're acquiring or anything else in your life. As always, if you enjoyed the video, give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive once more where we began and see it for the first time.